Hi, I'm Yani Cabrera. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm class of 2019. I'm an English major and an Afro-Am minor. I identify as Afro-Latina, I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm Dominican.
Hi, my name is Cassandra. I am a junior at UMass Amherst, so graduating class of 2019. I identify as Haitian and Cuban and also use she, her, hers pronouns.
Hello, my name is Eleni. I am a senior hospitality and tourism management major. I am Dominican and I go by she, her, hers.
Hi, my name is Hadia and I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am a senior graduating this May 2018 with a dual degree in psychology, neuroscience, and anthropology. I identify as a biracial woman. I am Caucasian as well as Afro-Caribbean from Trinidad and Tobago.
Hello, my name is Stephanie Xavier. I use she, her, and hers pronouns. I am a graduating senior studying sociology. I identify as a Black Cape Verdean American.
Hi, my name's Adeswa Uswanale, and I go by she, her, hers. I am a senior at UMass. I study communication and Afro-American studies. Upon my graduation, I'll be receiving a certificate in civic engagement and public service. I am class of 2018. I identify as African American. My dad is Nigerian and my mom is Black American.
Hello, my name is Brianna Berry. I am an alumni from the class of 2012. I studied endocrinology and sexuality studies through the BDIC program. I identify with she, her series pronouns. I am Black and biracial, African American, Cape Verdean, and white.
Hi everyone, my name is Kalina. I graduated UMass Amherst, class of 2016. I obtained a bachelor's degree in public health and a focus in civic engagement and public service. My family is from Southeast Asia, Thailand and Laos specifically. My pronouns are she, her, hers.
Hey y'all, my name is Chantal Lima Barbosa. I am a second year graduate student here at UMass in the higher education program. My preferred gender is she, her, hers. I am Cape Verdean, born in Boston, but I was raised in Cape Verde for 16 years, so I feel like a lot of my experiences as an undergraduate are very similar to international students in a way.
Hi, my name is Kiara Wynn. I graduated with the class of 2016. My preferred pronouns are she and her. Identify myself as biracial. I am Black and white. And I graduated with a BA in theater. My focus is costume design. And I graduated with a certificate in multicultural theater.
My name is Maya Hall. I am a 2017 alumna of UMass. So I graduated last May with a degree in sociology and African American studies. I identify as Black and African American, so a descendant of slaves that were brought to the South from Africa in the slavery era.
Hi, my name is Olga Correa. My preferred gender pronouns are she and her. I graduated from UMass Amherst in 2014 and earned my master's degree in higher education administration. And I identify as Latina. My parents are originally from Colombia and Venezuela.
Hello, my name is Decoria Jackson. My preferred gender pronouns are she, her, hers. I graduated in the class of 2017. I got my bachelor's in philosophy with a minor in psych. I'm Black, obviously, but I'm also Jamaican.
Hi everyone, my name is Faustina Cuevas. I use she, her, hers pronouns. So I was born and raised in the Lynn, Salem area. I was born in Salem, kind of raised in Lynn. I graduated twice, so I'm a twice alumna from the university. I graduated with my Bachelor's of Arts in Psychology and a minor in Spanish in 2010. And then I went on to my Master of Education program in Higher Education Administration, and I graduated there in 2012. Currently, I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I work at the University of Minnesota as an academic advisor. Welcome to my office. This is my office. Those are my degrees right over there.
Currently, I'm the secretary of LU. I have been for around a year. And I've also been elected to be Latinos Unidos' president for next year, 2018 and 2019 school year. I'm also a student manager at the Fine Arts Center box office.
I am a public health major with a psychology minor and a focus in epidemiology. I am currently involved with UMass SOCA, who I am the current president of, and I also work in the Student Activities and Involvement Office. Some leadership roles that I have been on are in the SGA, so the Student Government Association, where I held a senator position for a year, as well as STEM Ambassadors, which is a science mentorship program.
I was the vice president of Latinos Unidos. Currently, I'm the public relations officer. I was the president of Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated, and that's it.
I am a senator for the Student Government Association, and within that, I sit on the Social Justice and Empowerment Committee. I am the president of the Rho Kappa chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and within that, I was briefly the vice president of the National Pan-Hellenic Council. I was the events coordinator for the Neuroscience Club and the graphics and public relations chair for the Black Student Union. I work as a residence assistant as well as a student ambassador from the Commonwealth Honors College.
The secretary as well as dance coordinator for the Cape Verdean Student Alliance, and vice president of Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated.
And currently on campus, I am the president of Soul TV. I'm also the assistant committee director for our web series Bridges. I am the 2018 Alpha Kappa chapter Miss Black and Gold. And I was also the historian for ACE, or the Alliance for Afro-American Cultural Education.
I was initiated into my sorority, Sigma Lambda Gamma, in 2010. In the time that I was on campus, I held multiple different leadership positions in my organization. So president, recruitment chair, secretary. Here I was elected as undersecretary of diversity. And that was more of a position in name rather than in function at the time. I think it was the first year that it had been created. I heard it's something a little bit more substantial now. And then I participated in a couple of other RSOs like the UMass Motorsports and UMass Neuroscience clubs.
Two very, very special organizations that I hold near and dear to my heart, and those being Student Bridges and the Cape Verdean Student Alliance.
I was a student also here at UMass, my undergraduate. I was a political science major. In terms of student organizations that I was involved with the Cape Verdean Student Alliance. My first position with them was actually the Secretary of Public Relations. Had no idea how to do graphics, still don't know how to do it. Then I was the president of Cape Verdean Student Alliance, Student Government Association Secretary of Public Relations, and then I ran and won the election and became the vice president during my senior year at UMass. I was also involved with Black Mass Communication Project here at UMass, which is BMCP, one of the largest Black organizations on campus.
I was the event coordinator for CVSA for 2 years. I was also, I don't really know if there's a specific title, but I was pageant mom for 2 years for the Miss LU pageants.
I led the Black Student Union for a couple of years. I worked with an organization called the Center for Education Policy and Advocacy as the director of organizing and training for some time, and then also as a director of policy and legislation. I was the president of my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, during my senior year. I worked a lot with Student Bridges, although I was never officially a part of the organization, but I worked with their policy advocacy coordinator during my sophomore and junior years to organize a student, staff, and faculty of color mixer, and so that was kind of a signature event that we did.
I worked as a graduate assistant for community service at the Student Activities and Involvement Office. And this meant that I worked with many of the community service themed RSOs on campus, as well as any organizations that try to, organize any community service or philanthropic programs.
I worked for a student-run agency called Student Bridges. Basically, it was my job to provide direct supervision to the undergraduate staff, which was 18 people at the time, and our graduate student coordinator. Now, currently, I'm in grad school in the School of Public Policy, studying public policy and administration. I'm a graduate assistant, and I act as the advisor to the academic council.
Hello, my name is Lydia Washington. I am one of the leadership team directors here at the University of Massachusetts Amherst at the Student Engagement and Leadership Cluster. The areas that I'm responsible for are the Student Government Association, Graduate Student Senate, the advisor to all the graduate student organizations on campus, and I oversee all the cultural organizations on campus as well. I have participated as in helping support Greek life. I also have helped and participated with University Programming Board, and I've advised other different types of councils such as religious and also academic. I've been here at University of Massachusetts Amherst for the last 10 years. I went to graduate school here, got my Master's of Education from College Education, which is where I'm at today. And I also did my undergrad at the University of Florida, where I was vice president of the student body there, and I did my Bachelor of Science there in political science. Also got a minor in education, Haitian Creole, and African American studies.
I can't find a singular word to define it, but when I think about the question, I feel as though I want to say that UMass as an institution does the bare minimum to support women of color.
When I'm in my people of color community, my women of color leaders, and we're doing work, I feel really empowered and motivated and excited about the things that I'm doing. But when I step outside that very small community into the greater UMass predominantly white institution, I feel overworked and undervalued and oftentimes very frustrated and kind of stuck.
Very underrepresented and overlooked.
I believe the climate for women of color on campus is really cold. Like, if you don't have a community to go to, it can be really lonely, and it can be very hard to find support. It's already hard enough to find people who look like you.
I don't want to say it's not welcoming, but I don't want to say it is welcoming. It's almost as if they could do with or without us sometimes.
I will say that my experience as a woman of color on campus was very tense and very draining, to be quite honest. The UMass is a microcosm of our larger society, and so there are racist things that happen, there are misogynistic things that happen, and as a woman of color, you experience the brunt of both.
It's like women of color are there, but just in very few numbers. It can be very cliquey at times, and it's kind of like if you don't find your group that you fit in, you really just don't fit in anywhere.
In my previous institution, it wasn't as much women of color in higher roles and leaderships. Here at UMass, I've been blessed to have a lot of great role models, a lot of great women of color who have really, really, really been there for me in the times where I couldn't be there for myself. I think the campus climate is that we're all here and we want to help and support each other, but sometimes in the nature of our role, we get so caught up with the day-to-day, and we get so caught up with, us performing and doing our best that sometimes we forget. But I think here at UMass, the coolest part is that we at least check in with each other. We at least see if we're okay or living or we're existing.
The thing that motivated me to get on Latinos Unidos' e-board was from noticing all the great work that they do, and I wanted to be a part of the work that they do, and I wanted to also push their message as well.
As a freshman, I think I just wanted to do it all, so I was serving on multiple different platforms, and then I realized as I was getting older and I got used to the UMass campus a little bit more, I figured out what things that I liked and what things that spoke to me as an individual.
I wanted to provide a space or have an opportunity to empower women and be that voice and bring people together and show people that, wow, women can do it. Wow, she's a Latina woman and she's doing big things.
I didn't want to be passive in the community that I was going to exist in for the next 4 years, and I wanted to actively be able to shape the community and contribute to the things that I found important to me.
My aunt, who is an alum of the university, she was president of the Cape Verdean Student Alliance for about 2 years, and that showed me that women can have these leadership positions even before I attended the university.
When I was a freshman, I had a group of like 4 core friends, and my best friend, she did the fashion show our freshman year. And so because there was 4 of us, we're going to be at university for 4 years, we were like, okay, everybody does a fashion show every year. So my year was sophomore year. I can gain some confidence. I didn't make too many friends, but it was still like nice to be around new people, make acquaintances. So I did join the e-board for my junior year.
I got involved with leadership and got more involved at UMass just because I felt called to do so. It felt right. It felt like the right direction. When I became an interest for my sorority, it just felt like this is kind of where I'm supposed to be.
It was the feeling of wanting to be at home, which is ironic because I actually decided to come to UMass because it was far away from Boston, and I had this thing like, oh, I want to go and explore and feel like I'm in America, like, and you know, learn all these other things. But that wasn't really my experience my first year here at UMass as a freshman. And then I realized that I also was going home every weekend. I wasn't really getting to know people. And so this one Cape Verdean student saw me at bar. Cape Verdeans, we can spot each other. We know that you're Cape Verdean. So she came to me and she asked me like, hey, are you Cape Verdean? And I was like, you're a creep. And then she asked me, are you Chantel? I was like, you're a super creep. And then after that day, she basically started to bring me around. And the CVSA, the Cape Verdean Student Alliance, was really my first involvement. And after that, I decided that I wanted to be at UMass because I finally started to see more people that looked like me.
Because I didn't have any friends coming to UMass. So I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And, you know, I didn't know anyone that was going to UMass or even have like anyone that really knew what UMass was coming from New York. So I tried to get as involved as possible like the moment I stepped on campus. So I was, you know, going to general body meetings for SOCA and ASA, which is the African Student Association. I was going to BSU, Black Student Union, you know, being a general body member there. I was a part of the STEP team. I tried, you know, there was a group on campus, Famous. I was a part of the Christian group. So I tried just a bunch of different things to see where my interest lied, and then also where I could find community. And I ended up finding community within the Black Student Union.
As a Latina, where there aren't many Latinas in the program itself, in the master's program itself, or in the office that I worked for, or really throughout the division that my office was a part of, I knew that it would be helpful to be that voice and to show any other Latinas that were maybe coming in as undergraduate or graduate students that, yeah, we're here. There are not many of us, but we're here.
It was really challenging. I was a first generation college student on top of being a woman of color. Like, talk about intersecting identities and what that means and trying to navigate all these things. So that was really challenging for me. So the way I kind of cope with it was to get involved. And I got involved, I think it was like day 1, moving into my dorm. I met this hall director, Christopher Hubanks. He was like, hey, you're really outgoing. You should run for our hall council. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I think you should run for president. I'm like, president? What are you talking about, sir? Like, you asked me to run. I didn't think it was going to be like for this big position with all the responsibility. I ran, I won. I was the president of Pierpont for that year. And that was an amazing experience, right? It really allowed me to meet new people. Allowed me to connect with mentors like Christopher Hubeck, still a huge mentor to me. I was able to really meet other people. Patricia Cardozo, who's still there, is a huge mentor and friend of mine who's always cheering for me from even in the background, is always just like has her eye on me, and I really appreciate that and value that. And I spent my last 2 years, junior and senior year, as a peer mentor on campus, and that was an amazing experience. I met some of my best friends there. Some of us joined a sorority together, Sigma Lambda Gamma. So those are some of my best friends that I'll know forever now because I got involved. I put myself out there, got myself out of my comfort zone.
A lot of the times, like when I am managing a show and I have a white coworker who's not managing at all in that position in that current time, patrons would go up to them and ask them questions, or people from different departments, when they would try to communicate important information, they would go to them first. And I would have to state out loud, I'm the manager of this show today. I wish that wouldn't happen as much, because it feels like they feel like I can't do that, even though I've been a manager for a long time and I've been working there for a long time. So it feels like they're discrediting my experience.
Where you have to work with multiple offices on campus, ones that you may not be used to speaking to, or ones that you may never have thought that you would have to speak to. I constantly feel like I may fall under stereotypes when dealing with these different offices on campus. There's a lack of cultural competency, and I feel as though they don't really take the time to understand what it is that they're asking for from you, which then makes you feel isolated. And it's very easy to become angry at that, but I always have to remind myself, like, look at your skin tone. Like, you get angry and then you fall into the trope of the angry black woman.
You feel like, again, you're the angry black woman.
I did get labeled as angry.
There's barriers not only because we're a woman, but also because you're a woman of color.
A lot of us get burnt out.
Burnt out often, because I feel oftentimes I work so hard and I'm seeing so little results, or not the results I wanted.
One of the challenges that I faced on this campus, even in the role that I'm in, is being undermined by men, even black men. You know, black men aren't exempt from oppressing black women, as we know.
Being a part of a Greek organization, being a part of the Multicultural Greek Council, I realized that the same struggle, like it being a Greek of color in a multicultural organization, mirrored the experience of being a person of color in a white supremacist nation. And I know that sounds really drastic, but ultimately it felt the same. It felt more like, rather than you were a part of an organization and you had all of your own merits and all of your own value to bring to the table, it felt more like people were relegating you to fitting in a niche category. It felt very clear that there was some sort of weird distribution in terms of resources, and it just seemed almost like there was something about you and your organization that was less legitimate on the wider scale to the school. Like, time and resources geared towards multicultural organizations and historically black organizations was almost like throwing a dog a bone, like just something to do, rather than everyone has an equal voice and everyone has something to bring and offer.
I think one of the times that I felt the most challenges was when I was running for Student Government Association Vice President. I ran with my fellow mates, Shannon Bear. She was white, and I got a lot of pretty intense response from the black community on campus that felt that I either was being tokenized, that I shouldn't run as a VP, I shouldn't run as a president, and not only from our community, but definitely from the community of our opposing tickets, which was predominantly white. You know, people would do evaluations about SGA leadership, and you would always see like Chantal is very like intimidating, or Chantal is very direct or aggressive. That was hard to just mask and pretend that I'm okay, because I needed to show that I can do it. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of pressure.
There's this idea that we're supposed to be superwoman and that we can handle anything, but in actuality, these expectations can lead to real issues like mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and those were things that were not talked about a lot.
I would definitely say feelings of invisibility, mental fatigue, academic fatigue, lack of support.
With the identity as a woman of color, especially a black one, it's really hard to navigate and to, I would say, try to produce results in a caring way when sometimes people view you as very direct, assertive. I've gotten a lot of people sometimes tell me that I've been mean or aggressive, like, oh, Lydia doesn't play, or here comes Lydia. And, you know, for a long time that really affected me because I'm like, I don't want people to think that I'm this person that is just like, you know, mean or doesn't have a soul or even any type of compassion. But a lot of people exploit and capitalize on that particular skill set that I have. I think being an administrator as a woman is really, really, really hard because people have this expectation of this savior complex that you're supposed to come in and turn wine into water, and sometimes that water does not turn into wine, and it's okay.
First and foremost definitely has to be my friends, my female Afro-Am professors. I really don't know where I would be without them because they've helped me work through a lot of my like negative feelings towards just being on a predominantly white institution or being like in racist America. CWC, the Center for Women in Community, and I've sought counseling there. And that has also been a really great resource for me because sometimes you don't really want to unload some of the things that you're going through on your friends. I also want to say that the Gammas on this campus, Sigma, Lambda, Gamma, they have helped me so much too because they have actively reached out to me and I have connections to all of them here, and I really feel like those women are definitely leaders. Like each and every one of them I can say that I've had a really, really great connection with, and they're always there to help me, and they're always there to give me resources, and not even just from the jobs that they have, but just from things that they've heard about, and they're just always on the lookout for me, and I really, really appreciate having a support system like that too.
My own support systems that I've created on campus, first and foremost being my friends, knowing that I have the support of my advisors who are people of color as well. I have a lot of different mentors, and those are the people that I go to also vent, but unlike my friends, they give me very constructive advice. Lastly, and most near and dear to my heart, is my adoptive family. I'm a foster kid, so family is something that it was a touchy subject for me for a very, very long time. But now I'm very happy to say that I have an adoptive family who is there for me.
For me, it's my sorority sister, it's my boyfriend, it's my best friend. It's the people who are there for you in the lowest points and there for you in the highest points. My mentors at UMass, they're holding these roles in this academic institution that is predominantly white, and they're prospering and they're flourishing, and they get where I'm coming from and they see where I'm trying to go, and they give me their undying support and unconditional love in that sense.
The majority of Black cultural arts were led by other Black women, and so having them to rely on, to talk through issues with, to laugh with, to, you know, go and get a drink with, you know, like that was really impactful and really provided some type of some semblance of a safe space, especially when the going got hard.
Having women advisors in the office has really been helpful, especially having someone like Lydia, a woman of color, in such a high position. She's out here doing her thing. Everyone knows her. Everyone hears the word, like the name Lydia, and they're like, wow, like she's gonna get things done. And I feel like having someone behind you like that, and someone who kind of already, I don't want to say set the standard, but who has already paved her way, has helped women, at least me, be empowered to like, wow, I can do it.
A group of people of color, of different backgrounds, from different cities, with their own experiences, but that took me in, and in a way, in their own ways, said to me, we are here for you, and we know what you're going through, and we're going to get through this, and you're going to earn that master's degree. We're all going to earn our degrees or get our jobs done, or, you know, whatever the case is, but we're going to do this together. But I was able to meet people, you know, people like Lydia Washington and Shelly Perdomo and my Uncle Sid and Tyson over at Upward Bound, people that were there for me when I didn't even realize I needed them.
Now that I reflect on it, looking back on it, I'm not sure that UMass, like as an institution as a whole, saw me, but my people saw me.
Because of the different involvements that I've had, I had a mentor because of my involvement with CVSA, I had a mentor because of SGA, I had a mentor for everything, right? So like women and men of color that were there for me, and I think they also were a huge motivator as to why I got involved and as to why I decided to come into higher education, right? Because I went to UMass thinking I'm going to do my poli-sci and I'm going to be a lawyer, and then because of my involvement in student organizations and having all these mentors and support system, I was like, wow, I want to be that for other students of color, especially at a predominantly white institution.
The staff members, two of staff members, one of which was our advisor for CBSA, Lydia Washington. She is the best. Her herself is a support system. Like, I would go into her office and be like, Lydia, I just really need to get this off of my chest. And she would sit and she would listen. And if I needed advice, she was always willing to give it. The other support system is Sid. Sid is also amazing himself and is very insightful. And I just thank them so much for my junior and my senior year.
I think one of the things that I try to do is I reach out to some of my mentors or some of the women that mean a lot to me to go out to dinner. I call, I text, I read or send articles. I try to make sure I make myself available or to be around the people that I love. And I also just recently, I just joined the greatest sorority in the world, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And that has been also a true blessing to find another network of sisterhood. And I think that when it comes to coping mechanisms, you have to be committed, persistent, and you need an accountability person or people to make sure that you push through.
Is that I have learned how to talk about things in a professional way, and I've learned how to work through issues with multiple people and groups in a professional way.
I have many different tools now. I would say especially like conflict resolution between myself and peers. I've gotten so much better at that.
Especially during job fairs or job interviews, I've been able to really speak about my leadership positions and tell them things that I've had and events that I've planned and just things that I've accomplished. And I can tell they're like, wow, like you did that. And I'm like, yeah, I did.
I think I've really grown as a person, as a leader, as an organizer on this campus.
Learn patience. I used to be very impatient. When I was first on the e-board for SoulTV, I asked for feedback from the president at the time, and he's like, you can be a little impatient sometimes. And I know I can be. Sometimes I want things when I want it, how I want it. But I learned, I have to be patient. I also learned to be responsive. Lydia actually came at me and the previous president because we weren't responding fast enough for her. And so I took that feedback as heard you, I'm going to work on that. So I'm pretty responsive, and I take pride in that.
I know that I'm going to leave it in good hands, and I know that I'm also going to have made a mark on the school, and I've made a positive impact. And I already feel like I've done that even just as a secretary of Latinos Unidos, just because of the responses that I get from sending out emails, and sometimes when a general body member would come to GB, and I just see how much fun they're having, and I could just see people making friends, and it really just overwhelms me with joy.
Like I said, student organizations are definitely number one reason of why where I'm at today. So I want to be an administrator. I want to work in student affairs. I want to help students with their co-curricular activities, because to me, I feel like that's where I develop and enhance a lot of the skills that I have and continue to work on. So basically skills that you don't necessarily learn in the classroom, right? And I think for students of color, first generational students, international students, low income student organizations are the best tools to help you either integrate into campus, finding a home, and developing all these important skills that will definitely be very transferable for whatever career that you decide to do.
Event coordinating has also helped me better understand how to work in a large group with so many expectations coming at you. Some people tend to get a little discouraged and tend to not want to do it. But for me, like, I was just like, wow, like, this is all on me. I really need to get it together, and I need to make sure that this event runs smoothly. And I can say that that's helped me so much in my professional life, just because things do happen, doors do end up closing, and you kind of need to find your plan B, because sometimes plan A doesn't always work out. And at being quick on your feet and finding that plan B, I really did get that from being an event coordinator.
Professionally, I was able to connect with so many different people across the UMass campus and extend my network, and just learn from individuals that were either within student affairs, outside of student affairs, people that worked with our college students in different ways, and just see how their experiences led to where they were. Personally, the role just taught me a lot about me and who I was as a person.
I know so much about college equity, access, higher ed, programming, student activities, student affairs, student engagement, like the job positions that I've had and the collaborations that I've done with different orgs and all the different academic departments and student affairs departments that I've worked with. I've gained a lot of transferable skills that translate to real life, like, work experience. I feel like it's good for not only professional development but mental development. It's good for your self-esteem.
So as I mentioned earlier, I was the vice president of the student body. If you Google, you'll find out that I had to resign in that position due to the fact that I didn't meet my academic obligations that first semester. That moment really changed my perspective. A lot of people don't know this. I actually tried to commit suicide because my identity and my development was so wrapped up in that position that I felt like I didn't want to live. I ended up wanting to go into higher ed because I didn't want a student leader to ever experience what I went through. I wanted to be an example to all students, especially students of color, women of color, who their self-worth and their self-identity and their coping ways is for them to join organizations that mean something to them and their identity. And sometimes you can be in those groups and do so much for everybody but yourself and get to a point where you hit a wall and it's not even worth it, or you then lose yourself. And so for me, that experience of having to resign as vice president back then, even though I felt like my whole world shattered, it's been almost about 15 to 16 years, it's probably one of the best things that happened to me because it made me understand my calling and why I wanted to come to UMass to get my master's degree to help out other women of color not go through what I went through.
Paying attention to the events that a lot of RSOs have, and not just the RSO that applies to your culture. And don't get me wrong, I love Latinos Unidos, but I feel like I should have taken more time to go out and go to a HASA GB or go to a BSU GB and just experience more and learn more about other cultures and learn more about other RSOs and what type of things they're doing, instead of just the big party events, even though they're a lot of fun, I don't know, rowing club, just random clubs. You're not gonna have an opportunity like this to join a bunch of random clubs. Do as much random things as you can, because you never know what you're gonna love and you never know what you're gonna hate. And it's good to learn those things. Get involved as soon as you can.
Get involved.
Get involved.
Get involved in a cultural RSO. That is going to be your sanctuary. That is going to be where you find yourself. It's going to be where you find your friends. It's going to be where you find different professionals.
Be as involved as you can handle mentally and physically. Because I know that I've basically donated my body, soul, energy, everything to a lot of the work that I've done on campus. It left me empty, and undervalued, underappreciated, and definitely underpaid for the work that I was putting in.
As a woman, we naturally want to help people. We naturally want to be caretakers for others, but we can't be caretakers for others if we're not taking care of ourselves.
Stay true to yourself. Like, if you don't, and use your voice. If you don't like something, speak on that. Not holding yourself back and putting yourself outside your comfort zone is really important. And like, that's, on campus, off campus, because you never know what opportunities are going to come your way. Find friends who will support you. Find friends who will encourage you. You encourage them. You support them.
Sarah, the maker of this video, she was actually my freshman year roommate and one of the only roommates that I ever had. I remember our first day moving in, we were so happy to see each other. We seen all these white faces, and then when I seen her, I was like, you're so pretty, you're not white. And I remember our first semester specifically, we were just so down about not being involved on campus, not finding our circle, not finding people that shared the same interests as us. And we were just scared that, we'd have to transfer out, or our next 4 years were gonna be completely miserable. Keep an open mind and be optimistic. Go out there, introduce yourself, connect with others. The very start of us being involved with the students of color on campus like us was, we just walked in. We walked into a general body meeting of CBSA, and we introduced ourselves, and the rest was history. Just remember that you're only there for 4 years, and the 4 years are gonna fly by like seconds.
Find the community that you want to be around. Find amazing friends and positive friends who are always going to have your back. And also, really, I cannot encourage you enough to find those faculty members or that professor. Having that support system and having that community around you is something that's going to get you through your darkest and toughest days.
No matter what you're facing on campus, like, you still have like the people that you can turn to and be like, hey, like, today was wild and this is why. Just find your community.
Find your community. Find who those people are that are going to be there for you. They're going to be your rock, your foundation, your people to go to vent, to share good news, to share bad news, to ask questions, to review a paper for you, whatever the case is.
Just know yourself, know your limits, and know what you're capable of. And like, it's okay to go ham when like you have the time, space, and energy. But if you don't, then that's okay. Don't ever sign up for too much than you're able to do.
Especially women of color that are seen on campus, I've definitely have tried to engage and show them, and then they ask me like, oh, how are you here? And I always share my story. So one thing that I do is just always share my story, the bad and the good, and what I've learned with the bad and the good, with hopes that I'm also like motivating them.
Join organizations that mean something to you and mean something to the cause of why you exist. If you don't know why you exist, if you don't know why you want to be who you are, it's really hard to navigate through involvement. Just don't get caught up in the gossip. Don't get caught up in the he say, she say stuff. It's important to not get overly involved. And I think you should join organizations that push you. When people, especially women of color, they join an organization, they automatically go to a cultural group. Look through a religious and spiritual group. Look through an academic group. Maybe a sports club, who knows? And better yet, look through a Greek organization. Dr. Sigma Theta by that, I'm just joking. But I think it would be, my advice is, to get involved, but also make sure you make time for yourself.
Those opportunities are what's going to allow you to transcend your comfort zone and know your truth. You are worthy. You are amazing. You are enough as the way you are and the way you show up in the world. I'm happy to talk more. I'm happy to guide anyone that needs that guidance and just be a listening ear. So thank you so much for listening. Good luck to you all. Y'all are going to kill it. Okay? Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye.